Hi all, I'm back. Did you miss me? I'm just getting back into doing stories. I took a little bit of a break. I have a pretty demanding day job where I've been working over 90 hours a week, so taking care of that. Also, some personal life stuff. It's coming on the year anniversary. Well, actually, it is the year anniversary today of my mother's passing, so just dealing with some emotional things, but I'm excited to get back into storytelling. This is actually a revision of a story that I previously told last year. So without any further delay, let's get started. There are currently about 200,000 cold cases in the United States. This number rises by about 6,000 per year. According to Project Cold Case, there are roughly 41,000 California cold cases dating from 1980 to 2019. This means that California alone makes up about 1/4 of the entire country's cold cases. Now, you would expect this number is due to places like LA and Sacramento, but way up north in Delnorte County, an area riddled with small towns that have no more than a few thousand population, the cases routinely go cold. Many may think it's due to the small town capabilities and lack of resources, but they have experts come from Sacramento to assist when needed, and some fairly gruesome cases that have occurred in this area have been solved. So what is the difference? Why do some cases go cold and others do not? In Delnorte County, there is a lack of concern and just pure laziness that occurs in the legal system. Unless the case is really easy to solve, basically the equivalent of the responsible individual putting on their own handcuffs, strolling into a jail cell on their own accord, and confessing, chances are it's going cold. And if you are indigenous, your case is never getting solved, even when the DA has so much evidence he calls it a slam dunk case. It makes no difference if the victim is a man, woman, or child. They do not matter and will never receive justice. This needs to change. There's no reason with today's technology any case should go unsolved, let alone a child's murder with overwhelming evidence. On May 1st of 2015, on the Yurok Reservation in Klamath, California, the residents heard 2 shots fired, and for one family, life as they knew it would change forever. Unfortunately, like so many other cases, this would become another cold case. Despite having mountains of evidence, various witnesses, and even the DA himself saying this was an open and shut case. But here we are almost a decade later, and this case remains open pending new evidence. Unlike most cold cases, this case had a suspect in custody in just 4 days, and the headlines of the local paper read, "Teenager being tried as an adult in Klamath murder case." Even with the quick capture and tons of evidence, this case never saw the inside of a courtroom, as the suspect was released and the charges were dismissed. After years of protests and constantly reminding the county and its representatives that the case needs to be solved, the DA made a disturbing comment to the victim's mother. He told her that she is better off handling it herself if she ever wants justice. This is a case where pretty much everyone involved has dropped the ball, leaving a child dead and his killer free. Dante Jones was born February 14, 2002. And in 2015 he had just turned 13 years old. He was a young innocent just beginning life, and for reasons unknown, 16-year-old Nathan Felice shot Dante in the head at point-blank range, damaging his brainstem. Dante was stabilized on the scene, then transported to a hospital in Crescent City. He was then life-flighted to a better-equipped hospital in Oakland, California. Dante continued to fight for his life and eventually succumbed to his injuries 2 days later. On the following Monday, the county sheriff said, "We have a young man here that was shot and has died as a result of those injuries. We are going to pool all of our resources and exhaust ourselves to make sure we are accurate in the pursuit of this case." The last part of the sheriff's statement about accuracy may seem kind of unnecessary, but when you dive deeper into their track record, it makes sense why he felt necessary to word it this way. On May 5th, the newspaper headlines read that a suspect was in custody being charged with murder and being tried as an adult. But despite the quick capture and promise of justice, 8 months later, Dante's killer was set free, and his case to this day remains unsolved. With Dante's killer being released, he was able to go on to become a career criminal who continues to hurt people. Nathan Feliz was just charged last year for assaulting his child's mother in front of the child, then he kidnapped the baby. This is not the only crime he has committed since the murder charge dismissal. He's constantly in trouble and always escaping the consequences. In 2001, he evaded police during an attempted traffic stop. He took them on a high-speed chase, driving into oncoming traffic at over 100 miles per hour. He even hit a tree, and then it became a foot pursuit after his car became disabled. He got out and went to a nearby property where he found a boat and paddled out to the center of a pond, which resulted in a 2-hour negotiation that ended with his boat sinking and him being forced to swim to shore. Once captured, he was identified and found to have 2 felony warrants for manufacturing and possessing assault weapons. Before he murdered Dante, he was in and out of juvenile detention and a known gang affiliate. It was no surprise to anyone that he was responsible for Dante's murder, and there was never any doubt, even at the young age of 16, that he was capable of committing such an awful crime. The only surprise is that Dante actually considered Nathan to be a friend. Being closer in age and living together on the reservation in a town with a very small population, it makes sense they would know each other and be friends of sorts. Even though it's a small town and the 2 teens were friendly, Dante was the complete opposite of Nathan. Regardless of their differences, the local paper ran a smear campaign painting Dante as a druggie and this incident as a drug deal gone wrong. This was the furthest thing from the truth. Dante was very involved with his native heritage. He loved the outdoors, fishing on the river, riding bikes, and being a kid. He was not into drugs or involved in the things that Nathan was. Anyone that knew Dante describes him as sweet and innocent. On the Justice for Dante Facebook group, it is stated that after Nathan shot Dante, he attempted to dispose of Dante's body while he was still alive and fighting to live. After the shooting occurred, many agencies responded, including the Delnorte County Sheriff, California Highway Patrol, Yurok Tribal Police, and emergency personnel. The tribal police, however, did not respond until after other agencies were on scene, despite having heard the shots that ended Dante's life and choosing not to investigate. Later on, they told Dante's mother, "If we investigated every gunshot in Klamath, that's all we'd be doing." Their lack of concern with hearing gunshots in a residential area in town allowed Nathan time to try to dispose of the still-alive 13-year-old boy, very possibly furthering the damage to his brainstem. Even though the legal system and authorities in Delnorte County have a bad reputation, the statement that the sheriff made gave Dante's family hope and encouragement that they actually did care. The quick capture of Nathan and the decision to charge him as an adult furthered the family's belief that their loved one would not be failed like so many others. Being charged as an adult instead of a juvenile meant that Nathan would serve a longer, more appropriate sentence for such a heinous crime. A juvenile sentence would have been a slap on the hand for Nathan and a slap in the face to Dante's family. But regardless of the promise of swift, righteous justice, all of their hopes faded as the slam-dunk case with overwhelming evidence was dismissed. On a Facebook post that expressed concern and annoyance over this case's outcome, the DA went out of his way to comment and point blame towards the sheriff. He said, quote, "If you have questions or criticisms about how the investigations have been run, you should direct them to the sheriff. I can only prosecute a case that is properly investigated." Now, the DA's statement is not untrue. According to witnesses, the crime scene was not handled properly, and on more than one occasion in the past, the sheriff's office has been known to mishandle evidence. The DA's office, however, has a less than stellar history and reputation of their own. The DA's office has seen its share of internal drama along with other constitutional mishaps, including the DA speaking to a criminal defendant without their attorney present, not disclosing the conversation, then lying about it, and eventually that DA was disbarred. The district attorney set to prosecute Dante's case suddenly resigned in 2017, stating issues with his pay as the reason. Yet he only gave a few hours' notice and went on to practice law as an attorney in Michigan. So it seems like more of an excuse because he obviously didn't leave for a promotion, and I can almost guarantee that being an attorney in Michigan does not pay as well as being a district attorney in California. Given all of the misconduct, the family decided to create a petition pleading with the FBI to take over Dante's case. This case should have been handled by the FBI from the beginning, as it is a crime that occurred on federal land. The petition, however, fell on deaf ears, and to this day, Dante's case still remains untried and is not being actively investigated by the FBI or any other agencies. A professor at Humboldt State University in Eureka, California, suggested the reason the FBI did not initially investigate this case and refused to take it over is because, quote, the feds have a bad attitude towards reservation crimes. They basically see it as not worthwhile and a waste of time. This is just the opinion of one person, but a family should not have to beg an agency to take over a case when it involves the murder of a child within their jurisdiction. With every single agency, one after the other, dropping the ball on this case and the FBI not stepping in, it seems that this case will remain cold. One Facebook user commented on a post made in the Justice for Dante Facebook group that the only thing that can be done now is to vote the DA and sheriff out of office and then try again. At this point in time, both the district attorney and sheriff that handled this case back in 2015 have resigned. Unfortunately, cold cases do not have any type of annual review. I have seen cold cases in this very county go unsolved and unpunished for nearly 3 decades, and if it wasn't for information that came freely to them and easily to them, they never would have been solved. We're not waiting for evidence in this case, there's plenty. We're waiting on someone to care. This innocent child who barely had a chance to live was violently and senselessly murdered. He deserves justice, and his family deserves closure. Crimes against indigenous in general have an almost non-existent solve rate. The women and children on and near reservations are regularly trafficked and or murdered. The missing and murdered indigenous women movement sheds some light on this rapidly increasing issue that seems to have no end in sight. The rate of suicide among indigenous is almost double the rate of suicides of other races. Even more concerning, this number has increased by 40% in the past decade. If you or anyone you know needs help, I'm listing resources directed at mental health crisis and resources specific to helping indigenous in crisis. Please also consider joining the Justice for Dante Facebook group and spreading awareness of this case. Let's become so loud that they cannot ignore him. My daughter has made various designs that can be made into stickers and shirts. Please comment if you're interested in receiving the designs via email or any other form. Post on social media, put stickers on your car, take a trip to the coast, and join his family for a protest or organize one of your own. If you know someone who can pull some strings, do it. Let's do whatever it takes. And that's going to do it for today. I hope you enjoyed hearing the story as much as I enjoyed telling it. If you haven't already and you did enjoy the story, like, love, and make sure to check out the previous stories I have posted. Also, if you enjoyed this story or any others I have, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a future installment. Feel free to share with anyone who enjoys less than well-known dark reality stories, and leave a comment or let me know if there are any stories that you would personally like me to research and cover. Have a great weekend.